And this year,
it's all about the postseason.
Dreams of making the college football playoff.
That no matter if you got the hardest schedule in the country, hardest schedule probably in the history of Georgia, you keep fighting.
Are bigger than ever.
It's hard for me to sit there and say that we're not one of the 12 best teams in the country.
Road to the title. Championship Saturday starts now.
Championships are there for the taking, and playoff bids are up for grabs. The stakes have never been higher on college football's first Saturday in December. Thanks for joining us for Road to the Title Championship Saturday. I'm Mark Whiteman. Julia Morris and Chase Justice will join me in just a moment. Clemson and Georgia find themselves in familiar territory on championship weekend, while the South Carolina Gamecocks head into the postseason on the heels of their longest win streak in more than a decade. Talking first about those Tigers, though they didn't know the fate until the final Saturday of the regular season. Clemson largely rolled through conference play, rebounding from a disappointing 4-4 ACC slate a year ago to finish 7-1 against conference opposition this year. Saturday will be Clemson's league-leading 10th conference title game trip, 8 of which have come in the last 10 years. Dabo Swinney proud of what he described as uncommon consistency.
For all the things that have to change and how we're supposed to be like everybody else, I'd say that's pretty good. We got 2 goals left, and that's to win the ACC and to win the closer. And if we hit them 2 goals, hey, we'll be national champs. And that's a fact.
We're 1 game away from achieving the dreams that we want to achieve, and keeping our dreams right in front of us, and we're in full control of what we want.
Only one team finished above the Tigers in the ACC standings this year, the SMU Mustangs. Julia?
Mark, SMU has made quite the statement in its first ACC season, beating every conference opponent they faced, with 6 of their 8 ACC wins coming by double digits. Led by quarterback Kevin Jennings and running back Brashard Smith, the Mustangs averaged 37 points a game in conference competition. Head coach Rhett Lashley, who was named ACC Head Coach of the Year this week, saying his team earned the right to be in this position and they're going to play free and cut it loose on Saturday. But he also has a ton of respect for Clemson, calling the Tigers a complete team.
But I just think it starts with Cade. I remember him coming out of high school, championship winning quarterback. He's tough. He can really spin it, big arm, and he's really making a lot of plays with his feet. And then defensively, that's kind of been the calling card there for the last decade. They're big up front, really big in the middle, which helps them. You could just tell that they're coached to not just get you on the ground, but attack the football.
Lashley also complimentary of Dabo Swinney, saying the standard he and Clemson have set for the ACC is what he wants his program to be like. Kickoff in Charlotte set for 8. Chase?
While Clemson and SMU will be meeting for the first time ever on Saturday in the SEC, it's a rematch of a regular season showdown in Atlanta. Texas and Georgia met back in October, with the Bulldogs coming out on top 30-15. Georgia is playing in their 7th SEC title game in the past 8 seasons, while this will be Texas's first SEC championship game appearance since joining the conference earlier this year. The Bulldogs remain the only team to beat Texas this season. Since then, the Longhorns have rattled off 5 straight wins, currently ranked 3rd in the country in total defense and 14th in total offense. Georgia head coach Kirby Smart saying this week the challenges that come with playing Texas haven't changed.
The previous matchup does not determine this matchup. You can't overstate that to your players, because the flow of that game was different in the first 3, 4, 5 drives, and then after a turnover it went the other way a little bit, and then momentum swung throughout that game, and momentum's going to swing throughout this game.
One area Texas hasn't been great is running the ball. Georgia's defense limited the Longhorns to just 29 total rushing yards in their first meeting. Round 2 starts at 4 p.m. on Saturday in Atlanta.
And as you saw, the Dogs took a bite out of Texas in Austin back in October. The Longhorns hoping to return the favor on Georgia's home away from home turf this Saturday. Texas head coach Steve Sarkisian said this week his team was out of sorts in that 15-point loss to UGA. The Longhorns were held to a season-low 29 rushing yards with a season-worst 4 turnovers.
I think we're a pretty good football team. I don't think we played very good against them the first time out, and I think ultimately, they deserve to get our best shot. I know we're going to get their best shot. They deserve to get our best shot, and I think the fans and the people watching this game that are all going to tune in deserve to get the best version of Texas football, and that's what our focus is on.
Texas has one of the nation's best defenses, second in the country in points allowed per game. Mark?
All right, we are just getting started on our road to the title special. Still to come, we are catching up with a standout Clemson offensive lineman getting ready to play for another conference title. A year after undergoing surgery he thought might end his playing career. But when we return, we are breaking down the playoff positioning for both Clemson and South Carolina and Shane Beamer's pointed remarks toward the committee. Stay with us. You're watching Road to the Title Championship Saturday.
If the committee's job is to pick the 12 best teams, you tell me on Selection Sunday, everybody across the country, if South Carolina pops up in that bracket, I don't know of any team that would be excited about having to play this team the way that we're playing right now.
Fortunately, we might never get the chance to find that out. Despite winning 6 straight to end the regular season, including 4 over-ranked opponents, South Carolina's 9-3 record has the Gamecocks on the outside looking in at the college football playoff. The first year of the expanded 12-team field has brought with it big drama and bigger controversy over who should be in. Now we're just days away from knowing who will be in the hunt for a national championship, and no doubt there's going to be some programs that are madder than heck. Tuesday's penultimate rankings left the Oregon Ducks, the country's only undefeated team, atop the rankings. South Carolina behind 2 other 9-3 SEC teams, Alabama and Ole Miss. The Gamecocks ranked 14th. South Carolina, of course, lost to both the Tide and the Rebels, and they seem unlikely to make a big jump after the committee explained that teams that aren't playing on championship weekend aren't going to move up. And as you might imagine, that didn't sit right with Shane Beamer, who admitted earlier this week he was shocked and disappointed to see his Gamecocks only move up a single spot in the rankings after beating then 12th-ranked Clemson. Beamer acknowledged that, yes, in the committee's estimation, there are 4 teams that are contending for, at best, 1 at-large bid, but that didn't stop him from restating his case.
All those teams you're talking about, Alabama, Ole Miss, us, Miami, we all have flaws. But if you're looking at who's the least flawed, if you will, well, if you look at, who we've lost to, when we lost to them, how we lost to them, and who we've beaten, it's a pretty strong resume. So that's disappointing and really, really makes me sick for the players on our team that don't have another year here at Carolina.
But Beamer telling his team, whatever the result, they have the opportunity to end the campaign on the upswing with just the 5th 10-win season in program history. As for where that 10th win might come, if indeed South Carolina is held out of the playoff, these 3 locations considered the most likely bowl destinations according to various projections. Nashville for the Music City Bowl on the 30th. The most likely destination, Orlando for the Citrus Bowl on New Year's Eve, or for the second time in 3 years, Jacksonville for the Gator Bowl on January 2nd. Bowls will be announced Sunday after the playoff field is finalized. Julia?
Mark, this past Saturday was a roller coaster of emotions for Clemson, from the crushing disappointment of that narrow loss to their rival to the soaring highs just hours later as Syracuse completed an improbable comeback against Miami that pushed the Tigers into the ACC title game. Despite losing to their in-state rival, Clemson's path to the playoff is more clear-cut than the Gamecocks. The Tigers' berth in the ACC title game by way of a 7-1 second-place finish in conference play puts them on the cusp of an automatic bid if they can beat SMU and capture their 8th league championship in the last 10 years.
Man, let's spot the ball and let's go see. It doesn't matter. Everybody's 0-0. Whether you're 9-3 or you're 12-0, you don't get to have a touchdown on the board when you show up in Charlotte. Now, certainly we got to win to have a shot. I mean, we have to win because that's kind of what we've earned to this point. We've earned the opportunity, but you got to go win the game.
While Clemson and South Carolina's postseason hopes are muddied, the grass is currently greener between the hedges. Chase?
Since the start of the 2021 season, Georgia has been the epitome of consistent, compiling 2 national titles, losing just 4 games in the process. But in years past, when you lost those games is what mattered most. Their loss in the SEC championship just last season effectively kept them out of the playoff. But this season, the Dogs are locked and loaded, no matter the outcome of this weekend's game. But that doesn't mean Georgia isn't trying to run Texas out of the Peach State come Saturday.
We're built for this now. We're built for this.
For nearly 100 years, Georgia
has been synonymous with the Southeastern Conference. One of the 13 founding members of the SEC back in 1933, but like many parts of our game, has undergone some change in recent years.
Turn the page and realize it's a new era.
Expanding, adding new powerhouses like Texas, who in year one has already climbed the ranks in the conference where it just means more.
It's Vernon Broughton, who's had a monster night, who makes the recovery that should secure Texas's spot in the championship game.
You know, you've seen them on tape, and their team is built like an SEC team. He's done a tremendous job. Their defense is one of the best in the country. They've got explosive skill players.
Advancing all the way to the SEC championship game with a record of 11-1, where they'll rematch the one team that spoiled their otherwise perfect season.
The previous matchup does not determine this matchup. You can't overstate that to your players.
It doesn't matter what conference we're in. Our goal is to be champions year in and year out. That's the standard here at the University of Texas, and that won't ever change.
On the other sideline, Kirby Smart and the Bulldogs are back in familiar territory, beginning their postseason ascent in hopes of getting back to the mountaintop where they sat for 2 straight seasons, winning back-to-back national titles in 2021 and 2022.
Obviously, they're a really good team. They have a good defense, a really good offense, and they've been really consistent throughout the season. And they pose a good challenge for us, and it's for the SEC. So I'm excited, and I know the guys are excited for this opportunity.
With just one more game separating the big machine in red and black from their second conference championship in the past 3 seasons and a first-round bye in the college football playoff.
Yeah, Georgia and Texas loaded with playmakers. Should be a great game Saturday in Atlanta. And in Charlotte, Clemson sophomore TJ Parker will make his ACC title game debut. I caught up with the Tigers defensive end ahead of the big game. TJ, you're getting ready to play in the ACC championship game for the first time. What's your mindset heading into this big opportunity on Saturday?
For me, I'm super excited just to get another opportunity to play football. And for it being my first championship ever in my career, I want to get a win for the first time. So we get the opportunity to not only win the ACC championship, but also get a bye week in the playoffs. So I'm super excited. It brings me and just like another edge to get better. So I'm happy.
What was that feeling like Saturday after you lost to South Carolina and thinking you might have a few weeks off before a bowl game to then finding out you have this opportunity to play SMU?
It was a roller coaster because at first I felt all the anger, the mad, like all the just going through the game, like, man, we could have did this, we could have did that, to waking up and we're in the ACC championship. So, like, my mindset quickly changed to, like, feeling all this, like, sadness and stuff like that to we got another opportunity. So it kind of, I almost forgot we lost. So I was just happy to see we got another opportunity to get the job done.
What stands out about SMU and their offense?
Man, they put together a lot of good games. They definitely can pass the ball. They got a lot of receivers. They got a really good back who came from Miami, I think, and then obviously their quarterback being all ACC. He's very good as well, and he can run. So we'll have a good opportunity to showcase what we can do on defense as long as we stop whatever they got to do.
What do you think is one quality that has defined this Clemson defense this year all season long?
I think we stayed together as a unit. We spent a lot more time together in the offseason, working out, hanging out with each other outside of here. And I just feel like we can hold each other a lot more accountable than we did last year. We have a lot of good leaders like Wade Woodaz and Barry Carter who stepped up a lot. Guys like Peter Woods, Demonte Capar, Payne Page who stepped up and really became the lead, and it just has been effective across the whole team. So I think that's really one thing about us.
Win and you're in. You guys win this game on Saturday, anything can happen. What gives you confidence that you guys have what it takes to win a national championship?
We got the right coaching staff to help us, put us in the right position to win. I believe entirely in Coach Sweeney and what Coach Rum and Coach Easton have to do for us. So we just got to go out there and execute, and we can keep going.
All right, so Parker, confident in the plan Clemson has to stop this SMU offense that's averaging nearly 40 points a game. Some numbers that jump out. The Mustangs have the 10th best passing yards per completion in the country and the 5th best scoring offense in the nation. They're led by sophomore QB Kevin Jennings, who has thrived since becoming SMU's starter 4 games into this season.
This quarterback is just a really dynamic player. I mean, he's creative. You know, he's dangerous running and throwing. And so, you know, big challenge for us there.
Jennings is from Texas, just like Clemson quarterback Cade Klubnik. Coming up, how the Tigers QB has improved one area of his game this season and the dividends it's paying for the Tigers.
Plus, my one-on-one with one of the guys that is blocking for Klubnik up front, grad senior Walker Parks, on his football journey. Stay with us. You're watching Road to the Title Championship Saturday. You know, Cade Klubnik was special in that ACC championship win a couple of years ago, but this fall he has taken his game to another level. It hasn't always been perfect, Julia, but as Dabo Swinney said last week, there are no way the Tigers are 9-3 without Klubnik at the helm of this offense.
I remember talking to Cade before the season, Mark, and he said he was so excited about this year because of all the work he had put in to improve, and one area that he certainly improved on is with his legs. If you take a look at the numbers, his 437 rushing yards, more than double his first two seasons combined. That's made a big difference for this Tigers team.
He was a non-factor for us last year, and he's a fast kid. I mean, this kid can really run, but he was almost a 0. He was like a 2, and we only needed him to be a 5. And this year he's like an 8, you know, and it's just because he's so much more opportunistic and patient. And that's, again, a reflection of the game just has slowed down for him.
Can't wait to see how Klubnik and the rest of this Clemson team run the ball against an SMU defense, Mark, ranked 4th in the country in rushing defense. And while Klubnik's legs have been a game changer for Clemson, the offensive line has kept him upright and paved the way for some of those explosive plays.
Yeah, it's a unit that has dealt with a ton of injuries all year long, but they've held together. They've played really well. Walker Parks, he's started all 12 games for the Tigers, which isn't bad for a guy who wasn't sure he'd ever play again after a devastating ankle injury last September. We talked championship weekend and getting back on the field earlier this week. So, Walker, take me back to Saturday evening, the headspace that you're in, the disappointment coming off that loss to South Carolina. Where were you when you found out Syracuse had upset Miami and you guys were going to Charlotte for an ACC championship game?
Yeah, it was a lot of mixed emotions coming off a loss like that. Obviously, losing a state championship, playing a Palmetto Bowl, a heated rivalry in the state. It's never easy, and that's, you know, unfortunately a disappointment that I've had to face twice in my career. But, you know, both times I've had the chance to go to the ACC championship afterwards, which was another great opportunity. And, you know, just a flurry of emotions coming from, you know, you think it's over and you have no idea what's going to happen, like you're not in control of your destiny. And then walking out after the game, I'm coming out of the locker room and I'm like, well, we still got faith in Syracuse. I'm going to turn on the game. And a woman is walking next to me. She's like, well, it's 21-0 Miami right now. And I was like, all right, not really what I want to hear right now coming off that game. So, but I mean, they were able to pull off with the win and give us a chance to go on to the championship. So, I mean, just great for the opportunity and keep moving forward.
I know it's all about windshield mentality around here, but how do you move past what was such a disappointing game against South Carolina and get ready for a championship game where not only you could win a conference championship, but earn that automatic berth to the college football playoff?
Yeah, honestly, the mentality I'm taking is just be present where my feet are and be right now. You almost have to have amnesia with it a little bit. Like I said, it's a devastating loss, and hats off to South Carolina. They were the better team that day. But you just have to move forward. You can't carry that emotion with you. You know, that's what everyone was upset and disappointed. But then, boom, just like that, got another chance to go back to the ACC and earn a way back into the playoffs. So you can't really carry that negative emotion with you. You just have to be present in the moment and focus on the opportunity.
Walker, you have battled through so many injuries in your career, including one last year that you thought might end your playing career. To get back on the field, to play this season out, and now to have the opportunity to compete for another ACC championship. What does this season, what does this moment mean to you?
Yeah, it means everything. I'm extremely grateful. I couldn't have done it without God and my family and the training staff here. And, you know, just I've got a great village of people here that are my community that have, you know, built me back up. Because I did think I was done playing football. The surgery that I had was kind of like a 50-50 coin flip. And then, you know, 4 months afterwards, I still wasn't really walking that well by myself. And then, you know, I've fortunately been able to rehab and make a comeback this season and everything. And I think, funny enough, this time last year, I was coming off my surgery in Charlotte. Now I'm going back to Charlotte to play in the ACC championship with my brothers. And what kind of timing is that, man? That's just all glory to God. I'm extremely thankful for the opportunity and extremely excited about that.
A full circle Saturday for Walker Parks. And coming up, Syracuse head coach Fran Brown with a special message for Dabo Swinney after Syracuse's upset over the Hurricanes.
That's one that'll make you laugh, and Mark and I break down our keys to Saturday's ACC championship. That's straight ahead in Road to the Title Championship Saturday.
Hey, Dabo Swinney, congrats. I got you in, baby.
If we win the national championship, he's going to be riding in the car with me through downtown Clemson.
How quickly things change in this game. In a matter of hours, Clemson went from likely missing the college football playoff to controlling its own destiny after Syracuse upset Miami, which earned the Tigers a spot in Saturday's title game. Dabo had jokes this week. He mentioned that Clemson was the first 15-0 team to win a championship, and who knows, they could be the first 3-loss team to win one as well.
Mark, with this Clemson team, you never can count them out at this time of year, but the pressure is certainly building as the Tigers try to make their first playoff appearance since 2020.
Yeah, and I think it starts on the defensive side of the ball for the Tigers in this ACC championship game. Clemson has to stop the run. SMU is one of the nation's most explosive offenses. They have a terrific running back in Brashard Smith and a quarterback in Kevin Jennings that can really run. In Clemson's 3 losses this year, Georgia, Louisville, South Carolina, they ran for an average of 215 yards. Tigers really struggled tackling against South Carolina, so that will be a key on Saturday night.
And my key is turnovers. Clemson's been one of the top 15 teams in the country in turnovers gained this year. Sometimes, even if you don't have your best game, coaches say it all the time, if a team can capitalize off turnovers, it can be a huge momentum swing. And Mark, as Dabo Swinney called it earlier this week, the college football playoff field, Willy Wonka's chocolate factory. Looking forward to how it all plays out after Championship Saturday.
We'll see if they get a ride up the magic elevator, and we will see if the Tigers and Dogs get it done, what this 12-team playoff will bring on Selection Sunday. For Julia Morris, Chase Justice, our entire team, I'm Mark Whiteman. Thanks as always for joining us. Hope you enjoy this incredible weekend of college football. Have a good night.